It's real and hopefully it's spectacular. What could be the defining fight of the 21st century, and I cannot believe I am saying that, is tomorrow night. Hey, welcome to SI Now. It's Friday, August 25th. I'm Maggie. That's Robin. Robin, okay, the promotional tour for Mayweather and McGregor I thought was executed almost flawlessly, but are you now convinced that Conor has more than just a puncher's chance in this fight?
I'm fairly shocked by how many boxing experts we've talked to who have given McGregor a chance. Yeah. I don't know if that's because they want the fight to be more interesting. I don't know if people dislike Floyd, and that is, sneaking into the analysis. I don't know if there's rationalization. And it had me wondering, am I crazy? Perhaps, but not in this way.
That's another show.
Yeah, that's a whole, we could psychoanalyze me later. I'm not insecure enough to change my mind on what I think is going to happen here. Again, you have a novice when it comes to boxing stepping in with a master. And I do think that Floyd Mayweather will win this fight. I think Floyd Mayweather will win this fight easily. And I don't think the fight will go to the distance due to the punishment McGregor will be taking. I am calling fifth-round stoppage in favor of Floyd Mayweather.
Okay, fifth-round stoppage for you. I'm going to go a little bit later. I think I'm going to go 9 or 10. If I can hedge, maybe I'll go 10. I think it's going to drag on a little bit longer because of that ring rust. And that's another thing that some former fighters have told us. We're going to talk to Sugar Ray Leonard in just a little bit. He said the ring rust is real, but once Floyd starts getting his feet back under him, it's going to dissipate rather quickly. In terms of the promotional tour, I said that it was flawless. It obviously wasn't with some of the language that was going back and forth. I meant flawless by the fact that it garnered so much interest in this fight where there really should be none. This is not going to be a good fight, and you are not going to convince me otherwise. I think it's going to be boring. I think people who are expecting Rocky are going to be very disappointed. It's not how Floyd fights. We have no idea really what Conor is going to do, and I just feel like for all the people who have now invested, and yes, it's fun, and you throw $20 on Conor, and maybe you hope for the upset, I think everyone's going to be very, very disappointed by this fight. Is it the fight of the century? Sure, because of the interest, and it's really reached the casual fan, expecting more than 5 million pay-per-views. It's going to break records. Boxing-wise, I don't think it's going to live up to the hype.
I've called it live-action clickbait, and they're going to get me. I'm going to click the remote on the buy for the pay-per-view.
I'm going to be in attendance. I'm getting on a flight today. They got me.
Perhaps the most interesting commentary I've seen, though, was from Shane Mosley, who hit Floyd harder than I've ever seen anyone hit him, and he was actually hurt when Mosley hit him. And Mosley said he hit him with 2 shots, one that wasn't quite as flush, but the other one was very flush. And he was a knockout artist, don't forget, Sugar Shane Mosley was. And he was surprised that Floyd was able to take that shot and not go down. At the same time, he said that MMA fighters don't really know how to punch. They do for the normal human, but not the same way a boxer is punching, which makes sense. I mean, that's all you're doing in boxing. In MMA, you're dealing with all sorts of other attacks, and that Floyd will hit McGregor harder than McGregor has ever been hit in his career. And that's from the beginning, forgetting the volume of punches that McGregor's going to have to deal with.
Well, when George Foreman III was here, he was talking about angles and maybe how Conor could come at Floyd from different angles because of his mixed martial arts background. But I tend to think about the footwork. We went to a boxing gym in New York City and talked with Miletich, who's a former UFC champion, and he was talking about the difference between UFC and boxing, and he said the footwork is very different, whereas UFC, you're tending to be more square to your opponent because you're trying to take them down, maybe go for the legs. Boxing, you're going to be a little more closed off. You're going to be able to protect your side, and you want to protect your liver, obviously. You're going to be closed off, and also that dominant front foot. The boxer never leaves it. It always stays in front, whereas the UFC fighter has a tendency to pull that back. And all of this to mean that I think that with Floyd's skill and his otherworldly ability as a boxer in terms of the counterpunching, but just how fluid he is, I think he's going to be dancing, and I think he might make Conor look like the novice that he is.
From one fight to another, this one I would have picked Conor McGregor in had he been involved. A baseball broke out yesterday between the Yankees and Tigers as Austin Romine and Miguel Cabrera went at it at home plate, and the benches cleared following a pitch Tommy Kahnle threw behind Cabrera. It was a game full of incidents and ejections, as an inning prior, Detroit's Michael Fulmer hit Yankees star catcher Gary Sanchez. Maggie, what do you make of the melee? and who is at fault?
Let's first talk about who's at fault. Michael Fulmer is at fault from the Detroit Tigers because Gary Sanchez was lighting up the Tigers, had already hit 4 home runs in this series, 11 homers in the month of August. So you hit him on his next at-bat. I just don't like that unwritten rule of baseball. If a guy's getting the best of you, how about this for an idea? Strike him out. How about that? Get the best of him at the plate. I think that hitting him is really cowardice, and I don't like that part of baseball culture. In terms of Sanchez, though, I do believe that he deserves to have a suspension as well. The fact that he went for Miguel Cabrera, who will also get suspended, we think, for throwing punches at Romine, but you can't go for someone's face. I know there are not a lot of rules when a brawl breaks out that 8 people get ejected between both teams, but you can't be seeking somebody out, punching them in the face. Rougned Odor got 8 games when he punched Jose Bautista just square in the face. I think that Sanchez will get fewer games, but you have to discipline him somehow.
Yeah, I go big picture and I say baseball is at fault because they still haven't cracked down hard enough on the beanball culture. Yeah, that should be like a 50-game suspension. Something crazy and harsh. That's assault. You can't throw a hard object at 90-something miles an hour at a stationary human target and that just be cool. There is zero acceptable reason to do that within the construct of a baseball game. And then, they also allow these big giant brawls where it's like, ha ha ha, boys will be boys. Imagine if that happened in the NBA or something, what the reaction would be.
Well, the umpires ran. Yeah, it's self-preservation. They were out of there. The umpires did let this get out of hand. But in terms of getting a suspension that would be something like 50 games, while I understand your point, I bet the players would really push back on that.
The hard part of that is also proving the intent because you could accidentally, have a pitch let go and go near somebody. But when you're able to figure it out that guy was intentionally targeting someone, what is the point of that? There's nothing that comes from it. The reason a game is policed, I know people say, they police the game. Yeah. What are umpires for? What is the league for? Come on, that's just not cool.
I understand it, but I'm going to play devil's advocate here for the baseball. I'll say purists because I think there's a lot of definitions for that, but I'll say that they like this part of the game. They do like the policing themselves. The baseball purists will say, we're all aware of the unwritten rules. It's your choice whether or not you want to follow them.
Sure, but the purist is never going away. So you're not alienating the purist. I say the same thing about fighting in hockey. It looks ridiculous when 2 guys skate out to the middle of the ice, they throw their gloves down, and then one guy gets put on timeout. Like some hockey people will say, well, that's, part of the allure of the game. The casual fan of hockey, trust me, they're not stopping watching. Same thing with baseball here. They're going to continue to watch. You're talking about the big picture stuff and the casual fan, and this shouldn't be the selling point for the sport.
They're lucky that no one got seriously injured. Meanwhile, the NFL preseason overreactions nearly reached a fever pitch in Philadelphia on Thursday night because Jay Cutler, looking like the gunslinger that he used to be. Now, let's play this out here, and I know that I am overreacting, but the strike to Devontae Parker that nearly led to a touchdown, 72 yards on the catch, on the throw and catch, was just fantastic. Okay, Jay Cutler, 34 years old. What if the Dolphins realize that he has more in the tank than they thought? Mm-hmm. Would they start shopping Ryan Tannehill?
Does this chair have brakes I can pump a little bit before we get started here? Look, Ryan Tannehill is not good enough to be untouchable. He probably is good enough to have a market on the trade market. I need to see Jay Cutler go beyond 8 passes thrown in a preseason game before I start jumping to those sort of conclusions, especially he did just come out of retirement. He is, in his mid-30s at this point in his career. But yeah, there's something to it that always arises if somebody comes out and performs really well and the team really performs really well, because it's not as if Ryan Tannehill was pegged as the next future of the NFL when it comes to star quarterback.
If Jay Cutler can have a career resurgence with the Miami Dolphins, this is one of the great comeback stories in the NFL. And I'm being serious here because Cutler, with the big arm, the high expectations, and never lived up to them. Obviously, the smoking memes, people just piled on. If he can somehow change his own narrative, that gets legendary status. I mean, out of the booth, which he never actually called a game yet, out of the broadcast booth onto the field, and if he takes them to the playoffs, I mean, this is going to be a huge deal in Miami and in the NFL. As for the Tannehill, I think the market for him would actually be very mediocre. He's coming off of the injury, and the fact that he only looks like an above-average quarterback when he has a completely clean pocket, and I'm talking about like count to 10 Mississippis. Mm-hmm. He needs that type of time because he just doesn't have the ability to make throws on the run like he needs to. You know, what Pro Football Focus was looking at him, they said when he has a clean pocket and he can pick up the blitz, he's a fantastic quarterback. I'm like, well, shouldn't the offensive line get a lot of that credit, quite frankly? So, you know, one redeeming quality about Tannehill is, you know, his contract actually has an opt-out after this year. So that big 4-year, $77 million deal that he signed, you know, that could go expire, I guess, or kind of go away. You can move the money around a little bit if you are a team that would be in the market for him. You might be able to get him on the cheap. So it's a quarterback. They're always at a premium in this league, but I think that the market would be pretty mediocre.
And when you say above average quarterback, the average quarterback in the NFL is really garbage. So being above average, we don't think that highly of people.
Well, the other thing, Peter King, when he was in here before his training camp tour, I asked, who do you think is going to be the best wide receiver group in the NFL? And he said the Miami Dolphins, and I think that if they have a quarterback like Jay Cutler with the big arm, that's going to be very enticing to them. Meanwhile, you heard what Robin and I think about the Mayweather-McGregor bout, but what about the fans? NFL tight end Joseph Fauria hit the streets of New York to see who is preparing to pony up for the pay-per-view.
Who do you think is going to win this fight?
Who's in the fight?
Hey guys, Joseph Fauria here at Bryant Park in beautiful New York City. With the most anticipated fight in years between Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather, we're gonna go around and ask some people, are they willing to pay for the fight? Who's gonna win? And is Justin Bieber gonna be a factor? Would you pay $100 for the fight?
Probably not.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
I think $100 is a fair price.
Nowadays, $100 you can't even get lunch for $100 sometimes.
$100 for an exhibition fight with nothing on the line and a guy who's never fought in boxing before? No.
I can actually sense a certain dialect, an accent of some sort. So who do you think is gonna win?
Correct, I'm from Ireland.
McGregor.
Mayweather.
No, I actually think Conor McGregor would win.
Heart says yes, head says maybe. I think he might. You know, screw it, yeah, he'll win.
You're talking about a boxer versus a, MMA fighter.
Mayweather,
No doubt.
no doubt. Money's gotta be on Mayweather.
Mayweather.
Mayweather is Mayweather. He's coming into his platform. I don't see him losing. I think it's silly.
Do you think Justin Bieber is gonna show up and support Mayweather?
Yes.
I think so.
And today, it's 2017. If you unfollow someone on Instagram,
It's a big deal.
it's a big deal.
Sometimes people unfollow somebody, maybe the content or the filter they just don't want to look at anymore. So maybe it's nothing personal at all.
I don't think there's gonna be him walking into the ring with him. Big weekend in Vegas, and Bieber should be there.
I think he'll definitely support Mayweather. He's a faithful, loyal friend.
I think he'll turn the tide and support McGregor.
Plot twist.
Where does that come from? Like, he's not Irish, is he?
This big guy personally is gonna pay the $100 for the fight. There's no way I am missing one of the biggest moments in sports boxing history. And as for Justin Bieber, it might be too late to say he's sorry. This is Joseph Fauria with Sports Illustrated.
So how can Conor McGregor beat Floyd Mayweather? There is one way in particular, according to former Bellator light heavyweight champion Liam McGreary.
And how likable is Fauria? Love that guy.
The scenario that I see McGregor beating Mayweather is with a straight left down the middle. Everybody's seen what damage that punch can do. He's hit a lot of people with that in UFC, and he's flattened a lot of people out. I've seen a few fights that Mayweather, he does get clipped with a straight left every once in a while, and with McGregor's punch, his power and his speed, he's definitely gonna take it to him. My name's Liam McGreary. I'm the former Bellator light heavyweight champion of the world. My initial thoughts when I heard about the Mayweather-McGregor fight was fair play to him. He actually got the fight.
He's never even fought a day in his life. He's a runner. He's boxing's biggest.
He's been asking for it for a long time. He's been shouting for Mayweather for a long time. So, you know what? Like I say, fair play for getting it. I think all the pressure's definitely got to be on Mayweather, because Mayweather is the champion. He's 49-0. He's getting someone who's coming to challenge him. Never had a professional boxing fight before, so all McGregor's going to go in there and do and have a laugh and enjoy himself, you know, and Mayweather has to perform, you know. He doesn't want to lose that 0. He wants to get the straight 50-0. So, yeah, I believe all the pressure's on him. I think there's a little part in everybody that wants McGregor to beat Mayweather, just because of the circumstances, the way he got the fight, put all that work in there to get the fight, and then to fall at the final hurdle is a bit of a kick in the nuts. So, yeah, I want to see him. I'd like to see him do it. I don't think he's going to, but I'd like to see him do it.
I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the he wants.
He won the 145-pound championship. Now he's won the 155-pound championship. He got the 145 taken off him. He still hasn't even defended the 155-pound belt. So I don't think he's going to walk away from the sport and not defending the belt, you know. There's too many people saying about it, you know. I think for a man, he should go back into the UFC, defend his title, whoop whoever it is who has to fight, and then he can walk away with his 100 million from Mayweather, his 100 million from defending the 155-pound belt. Then the 27-year-old's done all right then, really, isn't he? This is definitely the biggest fight in competitive sports to this day. You know, fair play to them. They've actually brought it to everybody's attention. Now they're putting the show on, so now they just got to deliver, and then hopefully we can get some more of these shows going on.
Six-time boxing champion, Olympic gold medalist, boxing Hall of Famer Sugar Ray Leonard, good enough to join us. He'll be a Fox Sports analyst for the Mayweather versus McGregor fight. Of course, that pre-fight show starting at 6 p.m. Eastern time. And Sugar Ray, I know you have a personal relationship with Floyd Mayweather. You guys have known each other a long time. Have you been in touch with Floyd since this fight was made?
I have not, actually. I'm sure he's been training a great deal, and it's exciting. This is very mystical, and this is one of those fights that everyone, they can't miss it. You know, they have to see it.
Yeah, you mentioned that Floyd is probably training. People are talking about ring rust, the fact that Floyd has not fought in 2 years. What does that feel like as a fighter?
Well, especially when we hit the tender age of 40, it's really not what McGregor's going to do. It's what Mayweather doesn't do in the ring. In other words, being out of the ring for a year or 2 years, it's very hard to have those natural instincts fire up. In other words, in the corner, you know, to duck, which is natural to us. It's like a radar. Will Mayweather be the Mayweather that we saw against Pacquiao? Again, it's not what McGregor does, it's what Mayweather doesn't do.
What would you be most concerned with if you were Mayweather preparing for this fight?
Punching with conviction. In other words, not caring about being countered or being hit by your opposition. If Floyd doesn't have that fear or that hesitation, he'll be quite dominant in the fight.
We know that McGregor is cutting weight to get down to 154 pounds. His walk-around weight more like 170. What toll can cutting weight take on a fighter before a bout?
Good question. The weight could be a factor when it's like 10 pounds or more. But when you're young, I mean, he's 29, it's not that much of a factor depending on how you lose the weight. For the most part, I mean, fighters been doing this for many years, and McGregor, I don't think it's a problem. I don't think it's a problem at all whatsoever.
George Foreman III was recently in our studio. He told us that a McGregor win would help the sport of boxing due to the fact that more MMA fighters might now get into boxing because of it. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If McGregor can find a way to beat Floyd Mayweather, yes, then his sport becomes even bigger than what it is.
some very prominent fighters and people in the fight game are giving Conor McGregor a good chance. I mean, a chance, which is a good chance considering he's never taken on a professional boxing match. Is that crazy?
Well, look at this. Your pro debut, you fight one of the best fighters in the world. I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, especially if he can pull it off. But it's not going to be easy. I don't think it's going to be easy against Mayweather. Mayweather wants to win. He's a winner. He's been, he's 49-0. And McGregor comes from a total different sport and defeats him. That's good news. That's big news.
Can we get your prediction for the fight?
I say Mayweather. I mean, this is boxing. They're going to box. Mayweather.
And what's that going to look like? Is this going to come by knockout? Is Conor going to be able to hang with him for 12 rounds?
I have two scenarios, maybe three, but two. I think first one is the fact that both guys come out the very first round throwing shots, throwing punches, body shots, winging shots, knocking each other down, getting back up. I don't think that's going to happen because of Floyd's style. Or then Floyd using boxing, just boxing, and outmaneuvering, slipping, countering, total dominance. It could go either way. Third one, McGregor can come out there with a one big looping punch, boom, and Mayweather goes down and doesn't get back up. I mean, there's a lot of scenarios. This is a fight you can't miss. You don't want to miss.
Final one for you. When we're looking at, the all-time great fighters, and obviously I'm including you in that list, each one has the memorable bout. You have a few that fans will always remember. What does it say about Floyd's legacy that despite his very dominant career, he may be remembered most for fighting someone who may have no business being in the ring with him?
Yeah, I mean, this is not a boxing match per se that people are used to, the fans are used to, but it's a spectacle. It's depends upon the outcome and what goes into the fight. In other words, if they fight each other, or one just totally dominant over the other, the fight has to be great. It has to be, knock 'em, rock 'em, sock 'em robots.
Sugar Ray Leonard, I think you are absolutely correct. This fight is going to be a spectacle. We're looking forward to hearing your analysis of the fight on Fox, a special pre-fight show at 6 p.m. Eastern, followed by a huge prelims card at 7 p.m. And of course, we will not miss the post-fight commentary and interviews on Fox Sports 1. Thank you, Sugar Ray.
I'll see you there.
David Villa will return to international soccer after he was called up to Spain for the World Cup qualifiers. Our own Luis Miguel Echegaray had a chance to catch up with the reigning MLS MVP.
With the Hudson River Derby quickly approaching, Spanish soccer star and reigning MLS MVP David Villa joins us now. Hola, David. First off, congratulations on last week's dramatic win against New England, which included your 19th goal of the season. Te felicito.
Thank you so much. It was a great game for us. In the last minute, we take the 3 points against the big rival like New England was good. So thank you so much.
Earlier this year, you signed a one-year contract extension with NYCFC. Can you tell me what you have enjoyed the most about being in the U.S. and why are you committing longer?
I enjoy a lot playing in the league. I am very comfortable to play here in USA. And longer because I playing well, and the club thinking that I can play well another year more. So for this, they give me the opportunity to join 1 year of contract more. So I'm very happy with everything.
Your manager, Patrick Vieira, made recent comments that Toronto has essentially already won the Supporters' Shield, even though they haven't actually locked it up. Do you agree with your manager's statement? Why do you think Vieira said that?
Because it's not only about the thinking about the 4 points behind, it's the thinking about that the Toronto play. So they playing well. If they are still strong that In the past, it should be difficult to take him. So Patrick is intelligent. Patrick knows perfectly that he does, and I don't wanna make inside or go inside his mind. But my opinion is that it should be difficult to take Toronto if they still with the strong that they did in the last month.
Being from Spain and having played 3 seasons with Barcelona and knowing the city really well, how did you feel after seeing last week's horrific attack?
Feeling bad. This situation is so bad for the world, not only for being my country. It's in all the world happen the same. So I hope in the future the world change, because we need to change the world. We are in not good position in the world now with this.
You must see the crazy transfer fees being spent by teams. PSG spent $263 million to get Neymar away from Barcelona, and the Premier League shattered its record for most money spent during a transfer league window this summer. What's been your reaction when you see these numbers?
No, not only about soccer, about all the life. If PSG pay this money, first of all, that PSG have a lot of money. And second, they thinking that Neymar, the value of Neymar is like that. So the money is for PSG. PSG, the owner of his money, of course, and they put the money for signing Neymar. Neymar is a great player, and the value of Neymar, it's from PSG want to pay for him.
As part of Heineken Rivalry Week, the Hudson River Derby takes place on Friday as NYCFC will be facing New York Red Bulls at Red Bull Arena. You've been with NYCFC since the very beginning. How have you seen the rivalry grow and evolve?
No, it's great for us, the Heineken Rivalry Week. With the pass of the time, we are better, NYCFC. Red Bull is still to be a great team, and the rivalry in the city is great. It's great for the supporters. It's great for the team. It's great for the soccer. And this year we did well in the 2 last games, and we will try. We training focused in the game all week, and we will try to be good in Friday.
David Villa, El Guaje, muchas gracias. Thank you so much for taking some time to talk to us.
Thank you so much.
Imagine a standout high school football player gets beaten to within an inch of his life one summer night 26 years ago. After a trial that makes front page news, the football player's assailant goes to prison for 13 years. Now imagine the victim finds it in his heart to not only forgive his attacker, but the two become genuine friends. That actually happened to Jermaine Ewell and Shannon Siegel.
To look a guy in the face that had such an adverse effect on the rest of your life, shattering your dreams, you know, because I dreamed to play football. For me to look the person in the face that took that away from me is pretty emotional.
Their story is the subject of a new documentary called Beyond the Boardwalk. It airs on MSG Network on Friday, August 25th at 9:30 p.m. Jermaine Ewell was the man who was attacked. Matt Jablow directed the film. They both join me now. It's an unbelievable story, Jermaine, that you lived. Looking back now 26 years later, do you have any idea why Shannon Siegel attacked you that night on the boardwalk?
No, that's something I'm still struggling with. I haven't come to any closure on that, so that's up in the air.
Is this still a part of your daily life, even though it has been so long since the attack occurred?
The incident definitely altered my life. I tried to gain as much normalcy as possible, dealing with the reality of what could have been if I had stayed on the path that I was on as far as my football career. Every day is a challenge, but I keep going.
Matt, you were covering this trial as a news reporter on Long Island. Can you describe what the atmosphere was like around Shannon Siegel's trial?
This was the biggest story of the day for a full year throughout the New York metropolitan area, certainly on Long Island. It was unlike anything that had ever really taken place on Long Island. racial incidents in the 5 towns in Atlantic Beach were extraordinarily rare. Violence was rare, and violence connected to racial crimes was virtually unheard of. And you couple that with the fact that Jermaine was a fantastic athlete and perhaps more importantly, a wonderful person. And you had all the ingredients for an extremely compelling story, and it really did grip this area for a good year or so.
Jermaine, how did you find it in your heart to forgive Shannon?
As far as what I needed to optimize my strength and ability to get better and put myself back on my feet. I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk, I had to learn how to eat again. I mean, starting from zero. So to be all pent up with anger and animosity is just, it's not conducive to a better way of health.
Incredible. I think a lot of people would like to think they have that capacity inside them, but when faced with it, I wonder how most people would respond. Shannon passed away from colon cancer in 2015. Matt, what was his life like? He had been out of prison for 10 years. What was his life like before he got sick?
He lived a life of remorse. He was truly, deeply sorry for what he had done. Shannon was determined to be remembered for as long as he lived, not as this monster who committed this horrible crime, but as the person he really was. At the very end, Jermaine says he had a good heart. All in all, he had a good heart.
So what was your relationship like with Shannon after he got out of prison and up until his passing?
I mean, it wasn't like we were best friends, but we had some communication. He wasn't doing too well after he got out of prison. You know, he realized he was, you know, pretty sick, and he would ask me to come to the gym, if he would stop by the gym and use the steam room and help him go through whatever he was going through.
I mean, the irony, obviously, you know, Shannon almost killed Jermaine.
And here you are trying to help him get more comfortable at a time in his life when he's fighting for his own life.
Right.
You say, Jermaine, that sports saved your life.
Absolutely.
Well, why is that? How?
It's a comfort zone. It's a challenge to find something deeper within you, to find that inner strength, that deeper strength, and you know, just have to go as long as you can while you can, you know. And I'm still an athlete. I'm still looking to compete. I'm still whether it's running track or something like that. I've been blessed with a little bit of speed left. So at my age, I guess that's a blessing.
It certainly is an unbelievable story that you lived and that you chronicled. Jermaine Ewell, Matt Jablow, thank you so much again. MSG Network has Beyond the Boardwalk Friday, August 25th at 9:30 p.m. What a story. Well, there's plenty to keep you busy this weekend. Here's a closer look at what to watch. It's time for the Weekend Drive presented by Toyota. Let's go places. We'll start across the pond as Liverpool plays host to rival Arsenal. Arsenal's manager Arsene Wenger talks about preparing his unit for a match with the summer transfer window officially closed.
We just want to focus as a team and not look too much at the individual conditions of the contracts of everybody, because that doesn't. What is important is what you want to achieve together.
Should be a good one on the Anfield pitch this Sunday. Next, we head to Harrison, New Jersey, as the Red Bulls welcome in tri-state rival NYCFC. NYCFC got the best of the Red Bulls in their last match at Yankee Stadium, and star David Villa talks about the importance of the rivalry to the area.
Red Bull is still to be a great team, and the rivalry in the city is great. It's great for the supporters, it's great for the team, it's great for the soccer, and this year we did well in the 2 last games, and we will try. We training focused in the game all week, and we will try to be good in Friday.
And finally, the moment we have all been waiting for. McGregor and Mayweather will finally touch gloves in Las Vegas this Saturday in one of the most anticipated boxing matches in history. Conor McGregor is the underdog, but that didn't stop him from getting one last word in at the final press conference.
I'm very happy with how the camp has gone. Everything has gone absolutely amazing. I'd like to give a shout out to my team, Coach Kavanagh, Coach Owen Roddy, everyone that's been involved in the camp, my cardiovascular coaches in the McGregor Fast Conditioning Program. We are prepared for 12 3-minute rounds of non-stop pace, and I will go forward and I will put the pressure on him and break this old man. Trust me on that.
I'll be in attendance on Saturday night. Will this fight live up to the hype? And that's what's in store for this weekend.